I don't think it was us.
Gordon, you good?
Whenever you're ready.
Good evening. Welcome to the June 5th, 2025 Finance Committee meeting, committee as a whole. While we're in the chambers, I ask that you please rise and salute the flag, if able. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we take matters 2 through 5 out of order.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. First item on our agenda is the order that the sum of $118,000 be appropriated from Cemetery Interest Fund account to various cemetery accounts for FY 2026. Mr. Mayor.
I think I had metal fillings.
Evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee.
Good evening.
I spoke with the Cemetery Commission Chair, John Sawyer, for the breakdown of this annual transfer that we do to fund their operating accounts. So I have the breakdown in detail if you'd like. It is as it usually is each year, broken down to utilities, new equipment, office supplies, equipment and building maintenance, tools and supplies, the burial sections cost, and then there's the offset, the $25,000 kicked in by the Cemetery Commission for their landscaping services, same as last year. I don't know if anyone
Make a
has
motion
any-
that the matters sent out ought to pass.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is the order that the sum of $103,599.40 be transferred from unreserved fund balance account to park sick leave buyback account. Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Chairman, again, this is a standard transfer. This is a significant amount. This is primarily due to the retirement of long-serving Parks Superintendent, Mr. DeLong, who served 52 years with the city, retired beginning of May. And this is the usual type of transfer when that happens.
Make a motion that the order be sent out to pass.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Next item is the order that the sum of $150,000 be transferred from unreserved fund balance account to that, to Medicare match account.
This year was, as you saw in this year's budget, we had to increase the Medicare matching line item. Anytime we increase the salaries of the city, there's a matching tax that we have to pay for Medicare. So this is to catch us up this year because we didn't know how many contracts we were gonna settle. But we did settle 6 out of the 7, so this will bring us in line for the rest of the year, and next year's budget should make us whole for next year too.
Make a motion that the order be sent out to pass.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item, order that the sum of $750,000 be transferred from overlay reserve account to OPEB trust fund account. Mr. Mayor.
Evening, Mr. Chairman. This is the annual transfer we do each time, this time of year. We've been consistent with our $750,000 transfer. Again, there's that outstanding liability that we're working towards paying down. So we'd request that you approve this transfer, again, $750,000 each year. Any questions? Charlie and I are here, but I think you're familiar with this.
Make a motion the order sent out to pass.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to return to the regular order of business.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right. Item on the agenda is discussion of the FY 2026 capital budget. Any city councilors have any questions on any parts? Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor. Good.
Mr. Chairman, we began the discussion the other night on this matter. I think you have the breakdown in front of you. We do have many of the department heads here tonight available to answer any particular questions you might have about their items. So with that, I guess I'll just open up to any questions you might have.
Thank you. Councilor Campbell.
Yes, for the school department, what is the district-wide maintenance projects, facilities? What exactly are those?
Mr. Burnham can probably help with that.
Hi, Lenny, thank you.
Hi, everyone.
Good evening, Lenny.
Hi, Lenny.
It's just a group of, it's too many to list, but floor.
Give me an idea.
Yeah, floor repairs in almost every school, some window repairs in most of the schools, some roof repairs, and almost every roof has some issues that needs to be, some of the mechanicals that need repair, pumps, valves, some boiler stuff. So it's just a group of, it's a way for us to do a bunch of maintenance projects to try to keep everything continuing on until we fund some of the bigger projects.
Okay. Now, Councilor Toro brought up last night some issues with the Linscott and the Shamrock roofs. So is that part of it as well?
No, to replace the shamrock roof is probably somewhere around $1.5 million. So we can't just let it keep leaking, so we'll fix it until we get funding. We have some grant funding applied for. And the same thing with the Linscott. That's not as expensive a roof as the shamrock, but it's still probably $1 million roof. And it has some substantial leaks that we're gonna continue to patch until we address how to fund those projects.
Okay, and are the patching up the leaks part of this as well?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Counselor Papalato?
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
That,
Lenny, I have a question
hang
for you.
on,
While
Bill.
while you were there, I figured
oh,
out.
I'm sorry.
him go.
I had one more
right
question,
ahead.
but not for Lenny. I have one for what the mobile device replacements for staff and students are, technology.
So that's laptops,
Okay,
some iPads and laptops.
okay. So that's not part of the Chromebooks and carts, technology,
So
okay.
there's two line items for that. Some of the Chromebooks and cards go as part of the Reveal Math curriculum.
Okay.
And then the rest are, all of the Chromebooks and iPads were purchased during COVID. And so it's been 5 years, so now we're trying to replace the ones that are broken, damaged, and out of date.
Yeah, okay. All right, thank you.
That make sense?
Yes, yep, thank you very much. I'm all set, Bill.
Thanks, Lenny. My questions were around the roofs as well, and I know you had been so kind to give me a tour of the different facilities and all. And so, you feel like this is gonna put us in a good position? I mean, I know we're not replacing the whole roof, but we're patching them to such a point where we think it's gonna hold off for a bit until a decision gets made on what we're gonna do with all the schools.
Correct. I don't think I'm telling anybody anything they don't know. I mean, the buildings are, the Reeves was built in 2000, the Shamrock in 2002, the high school and the White were '06, right? So those roofs are all coming to the age where they need to be replaced. And currently, the Shamrock and the Linscott are the two that are in the worst condition. One side of the Linscott roof is from the '80s. So, and, you know, it's difficult to get it to, I mean, we could be patching it every day, you know, so.
All right.
This'll get us through hopefully another year, and hopefully the grant funding comes in and we can do a replacement project next summer.
Okay, that's good, thank you.
Counselor Toro?
Thank you. No true questions about the budget, but just to speak, everyone's touched on it a little bit now about the roof, and Mayor Concan, we talked about it, about the different buckets. I would really like to see, I don't really ask for much most of the time, but I would really like to see the Linscott roof and the Shamrock roof get addressed, you know, once we pass this bucket one, I think it is, right?
Yeah.
I'd really like to see that get worked on and either actively pursue and try to figure out what's going on with those grants, or at least put it into motion, get those roofs fixed, because the patching's great. You know, you're patching, it leaks, you patch, you leak. So I'm concerned more about the residual impacts of the consistent patching and the potential mold and the safety that, you know, the patches hold for a period of time. And our commissioner's here too. Commissioner Quinn can speak on it too, I'm sure. But those patches are only so good. You know, I'd hate to see something happen to the kids. So I'd really like to prioritize those bucket two line items for the schools. And I think you'd probably get, speaking for some of my members of the council, but I think you get support for that without question here, so.
Understood. And we are optimistic about the possibility of some grant funding for the Shamrock roof. We should know fairly quickly on that, so it's not going to linger too long. If we're not able to get grant funding, the next step would be a serious discussion with the council about which mechanism. Do we bond? We put a few of these packages, you know, these projects into a package and go out to bond? Do we do a stabilization fund transfer? So right now, we're, you know, fingers crossed on the grant, And if it doesn't happen, we'll be prepared to have that discussion with the council.
Do we have active estimates for the replacement of these, or the resolution for these two roofs? So that way, at least as we're pursuing the grant funding and whatever happens with there, we don't then have to go for the estimates. At least if we have them in hand, maybe even select a contractor or however the process works, so we can kind of put that behind us. And then either we get the grant funding and we can move right away, you know, based on the school schedule and stuff.
Yeah, I'd defer to Lenny on that level of specificity, but I know we have a general sense of the needs for both roofs.
What I'll say, Rob, is currently we have pricing from several contractors, but we don't have a full written scope as of yet. We can get a written scope and put it out to bid, but we wanted a funding mechanism before we got that far.
How long, I'm in residential construction mostly, not the commercial aspect of things, or like a city, government, but how long do these quotes usually, are they active or good for, you know?
I mean, at this point today, you know this, it's hard to get anybody to give you a quote that's more than 30 days, right? Because of tariffs and all kinds of
Yeah.
other things that go on. But for roofing materials right now, I mean, they're pretty strong. It's such a big number.
Yeah.
You know, at $1.5 million, I think they feel they can be within 10% either way.
Okay.
The other part of that is one of the grants that we have applied for is including solar to add. So it kind of changes the scope and the pricing.
That makes sense. Okay. I was just trying to make sure that we were as ready as possible, so that way, once we either get the funding or don't, and then it comes in front of us for approval, that once that's approved, it can kind of get done. That's all. So, thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Councilor Mercer Barone,
Yeah, thank you. Lenny, through the
Lenny?
chair.
if you could stay back up there, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Getting your steps in, Lenny. Getting your steps in. You did such a good job defending the laptops.
I know, I thought the same thing.
So I agree with Councilor Toro in that obviously we want the children and the teachers and the staff and everyone to be safe, but I will say this. You know, before we built the Goodyear School, it was being held together with duct tape and Elmer's glue and whatever else we could find, but everybody was always safe, right? I would be concerned about spending a lot of money on a brand-new roof when we do have a plan to rebuild at least one of these schools. So this counselor might not be so quick to support a new roof. I have complete confidence in you and the team that has existed here for many, many years. You kept people safe, and I have no doubt that you will do that. But I was just wondering, did we change our plan? I hope we haven't changed our plan. The Alta Vista should be built next, and I know you can't answer that question, but
Well, I would say this, if has the council hasn't approved a letter to send to the MSBA, correct?
I think, are we going down the list?
I think that goes through the,
No.
it hasn't
So
been
what
sent to
what
us
would
to
you
approve.
estimate for a
Hasn't been
timeline?
sent to us to
Hasn't been
approve.
sent from the
Right,
Can't
that's what I'm
approve
saying.
it if
So
we
what
don't
would
get
you
it.
What would you estimate for a timeline?
Right. Well, I would hope we're not, a roof lasts, I'm not an expert in these things, right? A roof on a house lasts, what, like 20 years or something? Is that what a roof on a school?
It
Same
depends
thing?
on what style, but yeah.
I would hope
that's
we're
safe.
looking at building that school a lot sooner than 20 years, so I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
Councilor DeMembro?
Which, Lenny, I was,
Lenny, could you
kind
please
of beat
stay?
me to the thing, but just, what's the condition of the Alta Vista's roof? I'm just curious. Being it's the oldest school in the fleet.
The Alta Vesta's roof has been changed. That's a white membrane roof, which they only started putting out about 25 years ago. I think it was done in two different sections, so one section's newer than the other, and currently today, we don't have any active leaks there.
Good.
So
Perfect.
I think we have a little more time on that one.
Okay, good. Thank you, sir.
Councilor Demers?
Just a statement. I agree that, we don't want to be highly investing in a school building that may be retired in the near future. However, I view the Linscott as a property asset that the city has. So I think the investment in that roof allows us to do maybe more in the future, or has greater value to the city as a property asset. So I'd be more than willing to consider it and seeing the numbers and how we do it, but we got to do it the right way and make sure that we're doing it so that these kids aren't having to dodge buckets with water getting dropped in it. So it's just my 2 cents. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any other comments?
Just to
Councilor
follow up
Mercer-Brown,
to
go ahead.
that, again, I have no doubt the children will be safe, the staff will be safe, The staff that take care of these buildings are amazing. But you make a very good point. I hadn't really thought about that. If it's something we're going to keep, we should take care of it.
Lenny, I just got one question, if you can come back up. I know we were speaking about the older roofs that we have, such as the Reeves and high school, how they're aging. Is there any talk of putting down some type of structure on top of those to extend the life of the roof?
We're looking at doing a fluid membrane on, like a fleece overlay on some of the older buildings that still have a good roof. But we did thermal scans of the Shamrock, the Alta Vesta, and the Linscott. In the Linscott and the Shamrock, the insulation damage is more than 30%, so it's not cost effective. But we can look at those type of overlays, which will get us another 15 years on the high school, the White, potentially the Reeves, and some of the other buildings.
So like the high school, the White, the Reeves, do they have any active leaks in there?
Currently, today, no.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, we just said it out
Better
loud.
knock
No,
on,
right?
better knock on that
Knock on
wood.
wood.
Yeah, don't worry about the no-hitter, Charlie.
Any other questions? Oh, Councilor Campbell.
Parks Department, I have, what?
Pat
Sure.
studied up-
Sure, come on up, Pat.
Pat apparently studied up on it.
Please, come tell us about that. I am curious.
Good evening, Vice Chair Chisholm and
Done a lot of work on this. and
Okay.
we have
Thank you,
things passed
Jesse.
out for you, and if
I'll make a
you
motion that we
actually
receive this and make it part of the permanent record.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
wanna- And if you would like a copy of our, yep,
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gordon.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Gordon.
yeah, since this is a numbers game, you can kind of do like that. And if you'd like copies of our capital improvement that we made a list of, that totals
12 million.
yeah, about $12 million. If you'd just like to take a peek at that, if, Lenny has copies of that too, if you wanted just to take it and peruse and see what we can do for that. And we just, and before we even do the reveal math, I just want to make sure that you pay attention to the safety concerns that we had listed in our capital improvements. And I just want to make sure that everybody is aware of the fact that we really want to put that as a high priority and make sure that we address that. We don't want parents to be scared the kids aren't safe, but there's things that we need to do to our buildings to prevent anything from happening. I don't know if Bill Rickard
None of
today
that's
had.
in front of us, though, is it?
We don't have that
Yeah,
in front
that's
of
not
us.
in front of us.
That's not in front of us.
So what Vice Chair Chisholm is referencing is a recent safety and security study performed by a consultant that the school committee has begun reviewing. In conversations with the superintendent during the budget process, and as recently as Monday, what I've been advocating for is that we create a bit of a task force to understand and implement those recommendations from that safety and security consultant. The superintendent is on board with that. The idea would be to have, obviously, Mr. Burnham on our side. Now we have a facilities manager, our IT folks, Deputy Chief McManus, since that's part of his portfolio, school safety and security, and have that task force take a look at what this recommendations are from the consultant and come up with a plan to implement those. You know, without divulging too much, it has to do with door locks, man traps, access, you know, the ability to communicate room to room, things that, you know, Bob, you're pretty familiar with. That would likely be something that we would come back to the council, much like the roof issue, for a significant investment. But I think we're pleased with the analysis, the professionalism, the competence of the analysis, but it's in a format that I think needs to be digested by this group of experts before it's actionable. So we are on top of that. It is front of mind, but it's not in front of you tonight because I don't think it's ready for a dollar amount to be applied.
Counselor Demers.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I just wanted to state one thing too, for clarity, because having sat on a school committee and gone through many of those safety reviews, many of my colleagues may have the urge to ask for specifics when it comes to certain issues of security. And a lot of that is left out of the public realm in the sense of, we don't want to be divulging our strategies to keep the kids safe in our schools and giving anybody who is a bad actor inside information as to what exactly the types of security systems are. So know for a fact that I've sat through executive sessions on the school committee where we've had discussions on those matters, that they're state-of-the-art, they're for school safety. Our police and fire are also trained up on certain areas of the plans. So I just wanted to caution that some questions may not be able to be answered in a public forum due to the nature of the security matters. So thank you,
Thanks,
Mr. Chair.
You're welcome.
Jesse can take over on the reveal math.
Thanks.
Happy to. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for your support, your questions, your open dialogue. And I'm not going to take credit for this presentation here. This was put together by Assistant Superintendent Young, who heads up our curriculum department. And Reveal Math is a pilot that we did this year. And you'll notice last year we paid for half of the program, the curriculum, through our capital budget, and you'll see the remaining half this year. It's been very well received both by staff and students, so it's very good to hear lots of positive feedback. And the Chromebooks are actually instrumental in the curriculum. You'll see actually in the handouts a section that's just digital. So part of this curriculum is done on laptops. Another reason why it's very important for us to also replace our laptops as they're aging, and this curriculum is needed. Well, laptops are needed for the curriculum. And in these handouts here, it talks about our curriculum process, how we select curriculum, a little bit about Reveal, and then you have kind of spread it throughout the actual sections of the Reveal curriculum. I'm happy to try to answer any questions you might have, and if I can't answer those, I can certainly bring those up to Assistant Superintendent Young and get back to you.
Counselor Ferrullo.
Jess, how many other curriculums, like subject matter curriculums, exist at this level? Like, is there a geography one? Is there a science one? Are there other curriculums that this could move toward?
That's the plan.
Yes.
We haven't done this since 2011. I
Yes,
believe is the last
2011.
time we had a new math program. So this is all,
So like, is next year gonna be is there gonna be another topic next year?
yes. It's because Courtney likes to do it as a pilot program and get teachers involved and have them work it out and get the kinks out. And then that way, she even has teachers in every building that is like the mentor for the program. So if the teachers don't have questions, they don't have to wait to talk to Courtney. There's somebody in the building that can walk them through this program.
To help us better understand the totality of the expenses, is this something that you could build out like over a 5 or 6 year plan on where this is going with all curriculum? So it doesn't come at us little bits at a time?
I understand what you're asking. So you want to know, next year, do we plan to have a new curriculum, and do we have plan to have a new curriculum the year after that for different subjects?
Right.
In K through 5 and then middle and high school.
I mean, this looks
Yep.
like it could lead to a $250,000 a year for the next 4 or 5 years.
I can ask that question and find out, absolutely.
Thank you.
Counselor Demers.
Thank you. So is this similar to what we did when I was on the school committee when we rolled out Dibbles?
Yes.
Okay, so it's basically a unified approach. And I know when I was there, Pat, and remember, we didn't even have a curriculum mapping program
Right.
in place. And they started using Rubicon Atlas to make sure that every student across the elementary schools was learning the same subject matter and the same grade level. So that if you moved from one elementary school to another, you were on the same educational track in terms of the curriculum.
Exactly. And that's
so-
why Courtney was so excited to do the pilot program
Right.
this year.
Yeah.
So that they can work it out, and the teachers had input on what they liked and didn't like.
Mm-hmm.
And they chose this program from others that were in the,
Yeah, and I think that's great, because you need the buy-in from our staff.
staff.
In order to make this work. And the other thing I wanted to mention too is, the way that curriculum has changed, it isn't purchasing books and lesson plans and supplemental materials and all that, and then supplementing that ourselves as a school district. It's very technological now, and obviously when technology gets involved, the prices tend to go up. So I think that's what we're seeing. But I think this is great work in the sense of curriculum, because, you can't go really more than 10 years without revamping a curriculum, because new standards across the country change, federal standards, our state standards change, and then we learn how to better assess our students. and how they're learning. So I think this is a great move in the right direction with curriculum, and I'm looking forward to hearing what's next in other subject matters throughout the school district. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Anybody?
We'll be back.
Councilmember Sperone?
Hey, Jess, thank you, and Pat, thank you. So Jess, how will we know that this is successful? And I always like to know, so where are we at today? And how the kids are learning the math and what their scores are. Are we above average? Are we better than other towns? Are we slipping? And how will we know that this, because ultimately, that's what we want this to do, right? Is
Up the test score.
up those scores, right? So how will we know the $200,000 that we're spending on this program? That worked, that those numbers are up?
So test
When-
scores being one of those
Yep.
things. I think open dialogue with teachers as well. What are you seeing inside the classroom, not on standardized tests, but also on tests in general that they're just taking or quizzes that they're taking? So conversations with them, which I know Assistant Superintendent Young already does, and so do our curriculum coordinators. But I think continuing having that open dialogue and checking our test scores, checking them from what they were, say, a couple of years ago to what they are now, and then continuously monitoring those to try to determine, okay, is this actually doing what it's supposed to do? And if it's not, what's not working about it? And is there something about it that we can change without purchasing a new curriculum? Or no, is this a bust?
So as a follow-up to that, in, I don't know, say 5 months, when the council has the school committee and you folks in and we have a conversation about where we are at in the budget, will you be able to show us at that time some scores and some results, or?
I would say that might be difficult, only because we have summer coming up and then school's not back in session until
Oh, right,
September,
5
right?
months. You don't
And
have-
we have a
right, right.
pilot
Okay,
now.
So let me forget the 5, I forgot, it's June, right? So sometime in January or February, we'll meet, we're all gonna meet before then, but sometime in January and February, would there be some scores that you could compare it? Or is it the sort of thing where you have to wait until May?
No.
To see if this is the $200,000 worth, and I'll keep saying it was worth spending.
I think we can have something tangible to you by January. I think that's feasible.
I think it would be great, not just for the city council, but for everyone at home. And, Councilor Demers is right. The kids aren't learning the same. And, that's a good thing, right? We always have to change and keep up with the times. And, but I always ask the same questions every year about these programs. How are we measuring them? If they're working, then we should absolutely keep doing it. But if they're not working, we shouldn't keep spending the money on it. So,
Trust me, Dr. Wells always calls to make sure that we are, that we are getting it. And I'm sure that Courtney Young will be on top of this like a new baby, and just making sure that it's being received well by the staff and the students. And I'm sure she'll be able to give us updates.
that's awesome.
Yep.
Thank you very much for putting this together. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Both
Our
of you.
pleasure. Thank you.
President Dillon?
Yeah, one last question.
Pat?
Thank you for doing this. Just a quick question. The pages aren't numbered, but on subgroup MCAS 2023, MCAS 2019, can you take us through that page and just kind of give us an explanation what's going on there?
Looks like this,
Hold
Jess.
tight, we're just looking for it.
It's close to the front, Jess.
Is it?
Mine fell apart.
I'm sorry, it's
It looks like this.
right after curriculum review process.
Oh, it's on the second page.
Next page, you got it.
MCAS?
Sorry.
Oh, that's true.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, it's broken down by subgroups for us,
Okay,
so that we know that the.
just explain
yeah.
what's going on there for us.
Okay, so, yeah, those are just all our subgroups, they're broken out from the MCAS scores, so that people will know, like, what groups we need to have to target to give extra help to make sure that we have more tutoring for these kids. But those are the scores in '23 compared to '19. Remember, we had COVID in between.
What do
So-
the percentages mean?
The percentage of the student body that took the test, that took the MCAS,
So the scores actually went down in '23?
yes. On some of them went up. Yeah, we had the multi-language learners come into us, so, and they could qualify for 2 or 3 subgroups, so that they could be counted in many of these subgroups. You know what I mean? So they could be also in the poverty,
Okay.
and, so that's students' groups. So we broke them out that way, so that as a whole, when people think that the city's not doing as well, we broke down those subgroups that we know that we need to have attention to.
Correct, I followed that,
Yeah.
so 2019, all the scores seemed to be, the percentages were higher. Does that mean the scores were higher, or
No, there was more students.
more students? Okay. Okay, thank you.
So I
getting
guess
there.
I have a follow-up question on that. So are you saying 39% of all students are meeting expectations?
39% of that subgroup, which could be, some of those subgroups could be like 40 kids, so maybe 36% of those 40 students. So it's not 36% of like the whole 3rd grade.
Okay,
Yeah.
all
What-
right.
What does the bottom line mean, the one outside the box?
So 39% all students, yeah, they're meeting expectations, is that one?
Yeah, what population is that?
Grade level is this? I don't know what grade level it was. If it was elementary, it could have been the elementary levels across the city. I'm not sure. But that's, like, so some of those numbers are the percentages.
What's the answer, Pat? What's the answer to the 39%?
30, it depends. on
Who is
numbers.
that?
I don't know. Exceeding.
Counselor
Oh,
Demers?
that's 39% of all the students are meeting expectations. So that, but we have groups that are just excelling in that, and we have some groups that need improvement within this group. But it's just a small minority of students that have been broken out in this table for us, so that we know that when we ask for the extra help for the kids and the paras, and when we had all the ML students that came in, we had that situation that brought some of the numbers down, not because of them, but because we needed to add services for them.
Okay, thank you.
Counselor Demers?
Can I just say, so are these
Counselor Campbell.
numbers positive? I mean, this doesn't make any sense
No.
to me.
So-
Positive, no. No,
May I-
as far as-
Where we're trying
do
to
we have
go.
work to do? Yes.
It's got worse.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, because the percentages for me is, they're not making,
Got worse
okay.
from 2000
So it's getting worse.
Yeah.
2019 to 2000.
Okay,
think,
do we know why?
Well, it could be the number of students also
Okay.
that we have. Like I said, it could tell you that it's 36%, but it's 36% of, our economically disadvantaged students. But that could total, I mean, I think in Woburn, we're pretty much up to 50% now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, 36% of of that 50%. So it's not 36% of all of our 3rd graders or whatever.
Get that.
It's that subgroup that it's meeting that 36%.
Okay, yeah, and thank you, Mr. President,
Counselor Demers?
Yeah, so I think
Mr. Chair.
if I may attempt some clarity on this. So the chart shows the difference between MCAS scores in 2019 and MCAS scores in 2023. If we all remember, we had a pretty big, sizable world event in the middle there that really hampered our high-need students. And this chart shows our high-need students and the scores dropping in 2023.
That was our question.
This is this is totally in comparison to the 39% of all students that are meeting expectations or exceeding. So the 39 would be the percentage of students meeting and exceeding, and then now we're looking at these scores that dipped. So a lot of work has been needed to be done in terms of developing new strategies and more in-depth curriculums to be able to bring these students back to the levels that they need to be, one, and two, we have shifting populations among all those categories where different types of learners could be impacting the percentages based on the amount of population we have. So we probably have more multilingual students than we did in 2019. So we see that drop down because a multilingual student who comes here into our school district, if they have to take MCAS, they could be here for 6 weeks and the state still requires them to take that MCAS in March.
Yes.
So that could also be a reasoning why you see that dip. I wish I could say, and I appreciate Assistant Superintendent Young putting this presentation together for us this evening. I think having a little bit more background on that chart would have been helpful into determining why it was being presented. So I think it's just to show us that since 2020 and since the growing needs of the district are changing, those scores have dipped, or the percentage of students meeting those expectations have dipped.
Yeah, thank you.
Counselor DeMambro?
So am I to understand that 61% of the students aren't meeting expectations in mathematics?
They could be.
According to the way this is worded?
Right.
At 39% of students in meeting expectations or exceeding expectations in mathematics in 2023. That leads me to believe that 61% are not.
Could be, and you have to remember too, in these percentages, the same students could be in several of these percentages. So it's not just this group of kids, this could all be 100 students that this is talking about. Because you could be a multi-language learner, and you could be Hispanic.
I'm just looking at as the whole, as
Right.
the whole body. I'm not breaking it all down.
But-
All-
right, but
the
that-
body
that's
of the whole of all the students.
No, we do much better than that. This is on this page for these students.
So how are students doing in mathematics as a whole? What's the percentage that are meeting expectations? We talking? Are they above, below? Do we have that number in mathematics?
I don't have it today, no.
We don't have that number
We-
right now.
And we
but
don't
can
have
get
our MCAS back from last year yet either.
Do we have it for 2023?
Oh, I'm sure,
This-
yeah,
this
that's
is
what this was.
2023, yeah.
Which leads me to the 61%.
So I see where you're coming with that number, but it's important to remember that you might have a student who's on an IEP who's also multilingual. So the percentage is inflated because you can have the same student hit 2 categories, 3 categories, 1 category, all category, well, probably not all, but more than 2. So you can't total the number up and get the percentage. You would have to look at the number of students and then understand what boxes they fit into.
Okay.
But I agree, I think the chart is a bit confusing, and more information on it in this case would have been very helpful. So we can certainly work on that and get you a number once we have those MCAS scores, absolutely, and continue to monitor all of our curriculum.
Thank you, Jeff. We should get those back in the fall.
Counselor Papalato?
Thank you. So I have I think my question, Lou, Council DeMembro, I think you stated my question, but just, the slide's very confusing to all of us, it seems. So I assume this is not saying that 39% of the people either met or exceeded expectations, and 61%
No, that's
not.
of this group.
That does not mean that, right?
That's of this group, just of this group of kids. It's not the whole entire population of this.
Okay.
of-
Because it's a little alarming when you
Yeah,
read that.
Yeah,
That's-
no, it's just this group of students that they're,
Thank you.
and like I say, it could be meeting several, or 2 or 3 different things.
Can I take another try at the 39%? It says this is in comparison to 39% of all students in meeting expectations or exceeding expectations. What I'm comparing then is 24% of economically disadvantaged people meet it, and 39% of the general population meet it. Is that a bad interpretation?
I know, I think that it's.
I guess I go to lose 61%. That concerns me. And the way I read that bottom line is that's what it says.
Yeah, no, I believe it's just on this group, and like I say, there could be out of this whole page, there could be 100 students or 200 students, because you could be in the poverty, but somebody else could be a black student or a minority or ML student or somebody on an IEP, and it's categorized in here, but that same student could be counted twice. So if you are a poverty student and you're an ML student, you're counted twice in these numbers, because you fit into both of those categories.
Is that 39% even related to the chart? It doesn't appear to me that that's related to the
I
chart.
think it's confusing because it has the word all students.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I agree, I do think that's confusing. I would have to get clarification on, is that all students that took the exam, or is it all students in the categories listed on this chart?
And we can get back to you on that.
I think it'd be valuable for Monday night.
Oh, yeah, well, no, she won't be here, but Monday she.
Any other questions? I just want to follow up with one question. Oh, sorry, go ahead,
Oh,
Counselor
not for
Campbell.
them, for the
Oh,
Parks
let me
Department and stuff.
ask them
somebody
first.
else.
While you guys are still up here. How do the kids that are on the pilot program, how did they do with this, how'd they score?
I can actually personally answer that. I don't have scores back yet, but my daughter's one of the pilot classrooms, my oldest daughter, Addie, in 2nd grade, and she's doing better in math than she has since kindergarten, and still not her favorite subject. However, she's doing better in it. I know her teacher, Miss White at the Goodyear, has really enjoyed the curriculum as well, so.
Does it seem like the kids are enjoying learning more with this curriculum, or?
I would say personally for my kiddo, I can say yes, and I know it's been well received by the educators. So I would assume that would mean the kids are also enjoying it, 'cause I feel if the kids aren't, it's not gonna make it fun for the educators, and no one's going to learn.
Right, okay. Thank you very much. You guys-
Good.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Counselor Campbell?
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. The Parks Department?
Recreation Commission has a meeting going on right now.
Oh,
with
okay.
Engineering in a conference room. But I
Okay,
can,
I think you might be able to
Yeah.
answer these questions. I am a gadget lover, so I just would like to know, like, for Mother's Day, several years ago, I got a wonderful saw. A lot of times I get those types of tools. I got, it was a wonderful table saw, and to this day, it's one of my most favorite gifts. So, with saying that, I love to build things. What is this, I'm just curious, the Real Master Side Winder Cutting Unit, what is that?
it is a big lawnmower.
Okay,
Yes,
that's it?
a big lawnmower.
Hey, I want to hear more about this thing,
Okay,
no.
I actually have, I have the spec. So I have the spec
I'm assuming this is
Okay.
something we can look up online.
of products.
Okay,
The Real Master 3100D Sidewinder
okay,
with attachments. It comes with the end weight, the lift arm kit.
okay,
It's got a,
May, do you have any pictures that you can send around to the council?
yeah,
I don't have a picture.
I'm sure we
okay.
can Google it.
It's
I wasn't sure
essentially,
what,
it's the multi-purpose big lawnmower they use to do the bulk of their cutting. They're due for a new one. The second item is more of a particular piece of equipment for grooming the fields, doing the extra fine work, edging out the infield grass, the edge of the dirt,
Okay,
that
good.
type of stuff, which they're long in need of.
yeah, no, I don't need to see.
That's it.
I did not know what it was, so I didn't know the name of, what that could have been. Cutting unit, it could have been almost anything, right? A type of saw or
Yeah, it's a
point.
big lawnmower.
Obviously, they need this equipment. They've been without for so many years. And even last year, they got some equipment that they needed, which was wonderful. So this is great that they're
Yeah,
getting some of
This
this.
will put them in a good position to do
Yeah.
the work they need to do on all the number of fields they're responsible
No,
for.
absolutely. They work so hard, and if your equipment is not working, it's not going to go easily.
Yep.
So you want good equipment, for sure. And then I just have just a question about information technology.
Dave here? We have Dave Mastronati here. He can answer any particular question
Yeah,
you might have.
he's right here. Yeah, thank you, Dave. Just a couple questions.
Sure, how are you?
Good, how are you? Okay, the phone system migration, is that because we're going over to the other building?
No, but we do need phones for the building. It's actually, so we have servers in-house at 3 different sites right now that all work together. So initially, it was just a voice over IP system with Cisco that was here at City Hall. When we did some work with former Chief Ferrulo to put in a phone system at the police station, which then, if our system went down here, it would fail over to there or vice versa when we modernized their system. When the new fire station came along, the headquarters, we also put another one in there in the event, so they could all operate independently for dispatching and things like that if something went down. They all will need replacement, and the overall cost of replacing each one of them over the next 5 years exceeds the cost of actually us outsourcing that to Cisco to have a hosted phone system that has many more features, that has far less problems. So it's, you know, a 5-year contract to get lock-in price and just do it a better way.
Yeah, okay, all right. And then the cybersecurity standardization, so that's quite a bit of money, but obviously cybersecurity is really important. So what is this what is this doing to
So
help
I'm going
us?
to tread lightly on specifics, but in general, we got $105,000 last year as a grant to fund cybersecurity, a standardization initiative across all the departments to make sure that we're not doing just one thing here, that it's being done across the city equally, because any one of the windows in your house that are left open, someone's going to come in, even if you lock all the other windows. You know, so we have to make sure that we're standardizing that as much as possible so we can expect, you know, that all the windows are locked.
Yeah,
And that's essentially, so the majority of the money, so we got grant money that's now gone. When we were applying for the grant at the time, we said, you know, like, are we going to be able to fund this in the future? You know, because we're not going to sign up for these systems and then just not do them. You know, it's the cost of not doing these things these days is going to be far greater, you know, if something goes sideways. So a lot of that is just patching little holes, and it's going to be a continual thing forever. I debated making that a 5-year contract, but where that is multiple systems that are constantly being kind of shuffled around over the next 3 years, it's very likely that some of that will change a little bit. Some of the money actually came from things I took out of my operating budget to price lock for these systems over the time, because we knew that, you know, we wouldn't want to try to change more often than 3 years. You know, if we're going to spend a whole year rolling something out, you know, we want to make sure it stays there for a little bit and that everyone's familiar with it. And then when we train people, it's consistent. So that's the high level of it,
okay.
I guess I would say.
Yeah, all right, good. Well, thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thanks, David.
Anybody else have any comments or questions? Council Papalato.
I do have a couple questions for Chief Rufo.
Chief Rufo, if you can come up.
Thank
Good
you,
evening,
Chief.
Chief.
Good evening.
Just a couple of clarifications here. So, a couple of items that are under the police, there's a flock camera, flock safety cameras.
Yes.
Is that the same cameras we talked about a little while
Yes, that's
ago?
what I come in and present.
And what is the
Myself and
idea?
the mayor presented to the council earlier.
Yep. So I think that you said you were funding some of them within your existing
Correct.
budget.
That was for this year.
And now you get into next year and you kind of
Correct.
blow it out a little bit so that we make,
No, it's that would be a commitment for every year.
that would be,
So I paid for the initial 36,000. Next year, I'm looking for it in capital.
oh, so it's a recurring cost?
Yes.
Got it, okay, that's good. And then the other item that I had a question on, it says cruiser replacement.
Yes,
So I don't see an S at the end of that, so you're a $408,000 cruiser?
yes. I'm sorry?
There's a $408,000, it says cruiser replacement.
Correct.
Is that for one, or there's multiples?
No, that's for 3 marked units and 3 unmarked units.
Okay. I didn't know if these were flying or not, because you had $408,000.
I wanted a helicopter to make them.
Okay,
You
that's
gotta-
it, you've answered my questions, thank you.
That's 2 mayors that said no to you on that.
Who said no to that?
You
Yes.
want a helicopter, you got a drone.
Absolutely.
One of the best drones in the state.
That's it, thank you very much.
Any other questions or comments from the council?
I have
Councilor Campbell.
just one question. I'm just having a good time tonight.
Oh, I am too.
Yeah, of course. What is the TASER X7 electronic control device project?
Those are tasers that are issued to every officer in the street. It's a program that we were able to break down over the course of 5 years to implement and pay for them. It consists of the taser unit itself, as well as training cartridges. And again, instead of paying an initial outlay of approximately $180,000, it was broken out in capital over 5 years.
Okay, all right, good. All right, thank you.
Do
Councilor
you still do demos on the taser?
I'm sorry?
A demo on the taser if she wanted to see it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, I'll use you, Bob.
Only if everybody else is.
Councilor Bruin.
Through the chair, I just want to say to Councilor Campbell, for as many years as I've been working on the council with you, I had no idea your love for tools. A gift like what you talked about
table
would be
saw?
absolutely quixotic, I think
was
would be
giddy.
the right word to
I was
use for me.
absolutely
Not
giddy.
ideal at all. But I think we should make a motion that we send a communication to Bill Campbell about Mother's Day for next year for that lawnmower.
Mr. President, I'm going to make a motion that we send the capital budget back for action.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you, everybody.
Adjourn
Have a
at
good night.
7:22.
I just hope.